Hey everybody, welcome to another session of Ironsworn. This is going to be episode 14 actually. They've started to add up quite a bit. Come in some ways such a long way from the beginning, and in some ways we've done so little when you consider like our very original vows and how we've kind of veered away from them. But I'm of course Midnight Jester, and I'm joined tonight by Blinking Firefly over here. And we're getting ready to continue this co-op campaign of Ironsworn. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Ironsworn is an RPG that is designed to be playable in three different modes. There is traditional, where you just have like a GM and a bunch of players. There's co-op, which is what we're doing, where you have a couple of people playing characters, but you kind of share authorship. And it's also designed to be played completely out of the box as just a solo RPG, no GM required, no planning. Works really well. Can't say enough good things. It also recently came out with a supplement called Delve that I have started reading. I unfortunately have not had time to like fully implement it for tonight, but I'm hoping to get that working into our game in future times. To add some new kind of cool stuff, like a little bit more rules for like dungeon delving, which we took a look at from the preview in some earlier episodes, but also like better working with like magic items and long-term threats and things like that. But yeah, tonight we're going to be working together to continue our story, which left off at a moment where Blink's character, Grae, was looking for a lost necklace that contained my character's, like, little fragment of being. Got lost in quite the situation, but in the trying to find where it wound up, it turns out that a person who had very ill feelings about her was the one who wound up finding it first, and, well, wound up having her arrested, and today's gonna be a trial. Hey, we're Allium. Welcome. So we need to have Grae's trial today, and in keeping with the spirit of how we usually do things, I know I certainly haven't thought at all between last week and this week about what that trial will look like. Have you?
No.
Yeah, like
I haven't. Oops.
no, it's good. I mean, for the somewhat purposely, I like to
Okay.
not really put any planning into anything of where it's going to kind of demonstrate that the game will lead the way. And with that in mind, why don't we move over to your character sheet and figure that out. So we need to know a little bit about what does a trial look like in the city of Black Falls. They're certainly a weird enough place with all of their cultists and love of death. Now, I don't think I want to go as direct as like they do just a trial by combat. That just seems a little too on the nose. Or there is no trial, they just kill you because well, we we need to see.
Death Central.
Yeah, we need some kind of way to make a game out of this. But since I don't immediately have any leanings on what this will mean, we're going to turn to the old classic in this book. We have these oracles, and we need to ask some questions or start off with some action and theme to get an idea of like what is the idea behind how they do a trial. These are generally pretty vague tables that help you point you in a direction when you don't otherwise really know what should something look like. So I'm going to roll an action, and I'm going to roll a theme. We're going to work together to turn that into something. So
Okay.
we have. All right, our action is abandon, and then our theme is going to be memory. Oh, jeez.
Abandoned memory?
Abandon memory.
Oh, like claim amnesia?
No, this is like not. This isn't. Wouldn't be your defense. This is how they do a trial. Um,
Oh.
yeah. So we need to turn that into something, and we can take that into like. We can kind of shape it a little bit more by asking some yes or no questions and rating likelihood to figure out like, is this a factor? Yes or no? And I'm muted? Really? I think you should refresh because I can see my meter rising. If someone should tell Orangutan to refresh, because yes, I know verifiably that isn't true. Oh, thank you. You were muted. Yeah, there you go. Pot calling the kettle black on that one. Um, so yeah, my first question that I want to know right away is like, is somehow robbing you of your memory a component of this? Now it seems unlikely, because that would require all sorts of weirdness to make work. But yeah, do they have some way of like stealing your memory at least temporarily for a trial? And like, if so, only to find out like for
Ooh,
what
that sounds
purpose?
sinister.
It does. Like, though I could definitely see it as a type of thing where it's like part of the way that they ask for you to defend yourself is like they they rob you of your memory of the event and see like what you in a neutral place would think about it. Like maybe I don't know.
Maybe.
So let's see.
Hmm.
We're asking the Oracle. So my question for the Oracle is, do they literally like take away your memory, like the defendant's memory for the duration of the trial? And yeah, I think that that's unlikely, but possible. And so I'm going to roll this here and see what the dice say. No. Okay, so they don't literally take your memory away. But it still has to be abandoned memory as a component of this. So what are some other ways that we could take that? Like,
Hmm.
it could certainly imply some amount of like sentimentality that might be like sacrificed or something to get a like they might like prognosticate based on like you like throw bones into a fire or something and then see the way they crack. Like there might be a thing like that with a sentimental item. Um, like well something that you cherished as like a memory type of thing. That might be part of like the judgment, I guess. Um, but I also want to see. Yeah, do they? So the next question for the Oracle then is like, do you is there an opportunity to literally try and defend yourself like we would understand in a modern trial sense where you give your side and reason why you're not guilty or like is that a factor of this at all? And honestly, I think that's like a 50-50 chance given like relatively primitive sort of society and somewhat authoritarian in that they're all run by this cult. Um, so yeah, I think that's like a 50-50. So let's see. Do you get an opportunity to defend yourself? No.
Damn
So
it!
that's not a part of the trial either. It's just your crimes are probably presented to some kind of council by, presumably by Sarah, um, and then like you're probably present to see what happens. And like as a player character, we want you to be there to be able to have an influence on the outcome, even if it's outside of the guidelines of how they ordinarily do things. Like right now, we're figuring out what would be the usual way, but player characters have a way of screwing up what is usual. So yeah, they would probably just talk about it in front of you, and then like it sounds like they use some kind of like sacrifice item to like read what happens to it to find out what their death god thinks about it. Like they 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 kill like the essence of an item by like I don't know burning it or smashing it or whatever, and then whatever that makes, they have a way of reading that to find out what their god thinks should happen to you. Um, which I think that might be it might be a pretty short and simple thing then if there's no opportunity for defense. Uh, this is yeah, it's probably a really quick affair. Um, I guess another question I have is this something they're ready to do right away? And I think that's almost certain, but there's a chance maybe there's some kind of
Yeah.
backlog. Like if it's that quick, it seems like yeah, why would there be a huge wait before they get to do that. But who knows? Maybe there's some other factor. Maybe there's something adventure worthy that's keeping that from happening right now. Maybe
Maybe.
there's a trade to be made. In fact, I like that idea enough that I want to downgrade this all the way down to 50-50. Like, we'll see. Maybe they can do it right away. Maybe they can't. So can the trial start right away? No. Okay, so there is indeed something hindering them from doing a trial right now, and I actually have there's a settlement trouble plot generator on here as well, which I think we can find a way to weave that in. So I think, yeah, maybe there's a chance that rather than just entirely resign yourself to fate, there might be a way, like, depending on what this trouble is, maybe there's kind of like a like community service like version of this where by taking care of this trouble that might lessen your sentence type of thing. Now we know of course one of the troubles of the community right now is the big fire that went out, but that's already taken care of. There's got to be something else. So let's see. Roll twice. Okay. So they've got a number of things going on. Attack is imminent, and Vengeful Outcast. Well, those seem very related. And yeah, so an attack is imminent, probably led by a Vengeful Outcast. Oh, and maybe that's why they're they probably think that this is all related, like that the fire that happened, like the big. They probably think that Chandra is part of this whole movement then, and why they were especially not having it. So let's see. Who is this outcast? I'm gonna roll a character roll for them and get some descriptors. So this person was an artisan. Clearly somebody who was trying to speak the truth through their artwork. And I guess that wasn't, or like their artwork was seen as like blasphemous or something. And
Is this maybe like a person that's going to defend us, or what was this role for? Sorry.
this was this town has some kind of trouble that's keeping them from being able to do the trial immediately. And
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So maybe someone's just causing trouble, like a free thinker,
exactly.
maybe like speaking in the streets.
There's something that's keeping them from being able to focus on doing a trial, and it seems to be related to this artisan who, let's see, I'm gonna roll a goal for them. Gain knowledge, okay, and a few things about them. They are aggressive. Well, clearly, if they're starting up an attack. Agreeable, interesting. Like they're generally agreeable, but clearly they've been pushed beyond the brink. Yeah. And bitter. Well, there you go. They're usually agreeable, but that bitterness is coming out. And they want to gain knowledge, which is probably what this is all about. I mean, the first thing I think of is that there's, like, they're clearly very protective of some of their things. Like, they have this whole inner sanctum and everything that we already took a look at. Very protective about who gets to go where and who sees what. So, potentially, this artisan whose name is Gethin.
Gethin.
Yeah, so the great Gethin is, or perhaps Gethin.
Gethin sounds a bit more like Gethin.
You like Gethin more?
Yeah.
So the great Gethin is sounds like
They're both weird.
Yeah. What do you want? It's an artist. I mean, an artisan, but I'm choosing to push that a little bit more towards like modern art type of figure. You don't have to go directly with what it says. Just as long as it prompts you in a direction. So yeah, probably wants to find out some of the stuff beyond, like, inside the inner sanctum to use that as, like, inspiration for a great work or something. And I'm guessing in the name of, like, art speaks truth, and that's the only important thing. He's probably tried to get in where he wasn't allowed in various places, and it's caused this whole problem. They've been, like, probably the equivalent of, like, excommunicated for what they did to something kept sacred, and but it's got to
Maybe he
be.
was trying to rearrange the bodies into like a sculpture, like at the
Oh,
base
that
of
would be
the.
great. Yeah.
Just trying to spell out something with them.
That could be very
It's
interesting. Yeah,
art.
like they were
Can't you
doing.
understand?
Yeah, I like that. Like rather than trying to gain access to, like, rather than focus on that, like getting into the inner sanctum. Yeah, what if they were indeed found to have, like, I think that's, or maybe after they were outcast. Yeah, that's where they are now. Is like they've since being outcast, being thrown out and excommunicated for having gone into the wrong place and looked for the wrong things. They're now, like, at the base of Black Falls doing this great blasphemy with all the bodies down there, and it's such a, like, horrible crime that they need this taken care of right away before even beginning to consider something like your trial. um
Yeah. Maybe it was just he was ahead.
but they we also
Like
have
his crime.
but we also do have this idea of, like, there's an attack imminent. So,
Oh.
I mean, it could be entirely unrelated.
He might
um
be leading um a revolt.
yeah, I'm just trying to think of, like, the specifics on that to make it kind of fit nicely and make a lot of sense, because, like, they seem like two very different ideas at the moment, and they could just be two entirely separate things that are happening. Like, that is somewhat the intent of the roll twice on the settlement trouble, is, like, there's just more than one thing going on. So it could just be, not only do they have this asshole down here that's messing with their great work of just the pile of dead bodies, but there's also an attack imminent. So yeah, it could just be those two different things. So then, I guess, who is planning an attack and why? So we can get some more oracles. So for this attacker, we have a vagrant. Okay. um who wants to harm a rival. All right, well, that's working pretty well so far. And they are weak, successful, and cowardly. Huh. Okay, so, like, clearly it doesn't seem like something. They
Seems
seem like
conflicting.
well, they seem like somebody that's, like, pulling the strings behind the scene. Then, like, they wouldn't be directly attacking so much as getting others to attack on their behalf if they're weak and cowardly. But they are successful, so yeah, like, more of a, like, master of whispers or something. Um, yeah, I mean, it could be as simple as, like, yeah, there's, like, the lower class around here is being uh somebody's had enough, which it seems a little similar to what we had in our last town. So I want to make sure it feels different enough. But we have this vagrant here who is making an attack, and maybe it's less about a class difference and more about a religious difference. In order to make sure that that feels nice and different from our last city that was all authoritarian, and we had some manner of people that were, like, a small uprising that wasn't very successful.
Maybe others who, yeah, want to practice their religion and
Yeah, some
not
people that think
feel.
that maybe worshiping death as a cult is not the best idea. That they would like to they think it's wrong, in fact. Oh, and so that has a kind of a through thread with this, like, why they would consider that all this sort of linked idea with, and there's somebody desecrating the bodies down below. They may not actually be connected, but the people might see it as connected.
Oh yeah.
So then, what's the theme of this of their religion. What's this other uprising religion that's an attack on everything they think about? It may not even be a physical attack. It may just be an attack on like their way of life. Um,
Hmm.
let's see.
It might be the same religion, just they don't believe in the death aspect. Like they, um,
It seems so central to what they are. It's hard to think of like what's that religion without the death part. But
hmm.
I'm gonna roll a theme here and see what defines this other faith. Ally, okay. So maybe like a hospitality kind of thing, like a religion of the hearth and like the brotherhood of all man and stuff like that. Um, which is probably more of a celebration of life and you know, almost like a hedonistic type of thing, where we should eat good food and be merry while we're on this earth. And so like very antithetical to this idea of like death comes for us all and we should worship that moment. Um, yeah, I think we can work with that. This is an example of how the random generators can kind of push things in a direction, because obviously ally, like, it wasn't exactly a one-to-one thing, but you always, with vague enough terms like that, you'll find something that you latch onto and just how to work with that. So yeah, some other religion that I imagine isn't like it's probably well celebrated in other parts of the land too, but here it's just this little weed that they need taken care of. Um, so I think we've got enough information then to roll with some of this and figure out what happens next. So I think that you're probably I think we start off and Grae is like in some kind of like outside a chamber. Like you were taken to a place, like as we remember last time, like you wound up having to surrender to these armed guards because it was just not going well, and they escorted you to what they would use as a courthouse, which is probably just like one of their larger cathedrals that just has a bit of a dual purpose.
Hmm.
And I think you're sitting outside the door to the main hall of it, and like Sarah went in already to go like speak to some other people, and it's been a long time, longer than you would have expected, and nothing has happened. You've just been like sitting there on like a bench outside the doorway with guards watching your every move, giving you like not a lot of personal space here, so they don't really trust you after what happened. Um, and it's just this tension and silence for like 20, 30 minutes, 40 even. It just keeps going on, and then finally, Sarah comes back out of the door, his head hung a little lower, and let's see, how would he break this news? What would be the spin on it? Because he's here to tell you about how, like, he's just been told that they can't do the trial right now. Like, I don't think he knew this. Um, it might just be as simple as that. That uh, I've been informed that your trial must be postponed while we solve other matters. But I don't believe we can trust you to come at the right date. So what do we do here, Grae?
Wouldn't I be in prison though?
It's you've gone just directly to here.
Oh, so but I'd still be like probably held somewhere. Like,
Uh, I mean, you were just sitting outside the courtroom under watch at the moment.
okay.
Like there hasn't really been time for anything to happen yet, which is basically what he's breaking to you right now. Is that it's got to be postponed, and so what do we do here? I think part of the reason is they may not do prisons. They may not have a lot of need for them. Yeah, depending on how exactly they carry out justice. There may not be a lot of just like, yeah, we just hold on to you and take care of you for a while. So I don't know if they have that concept here. And so, yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how long we're waiting there. Like,
That's
is
what I
it
just said.
days or
Like,
just hours or?
that's what I just said. Like 40 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't I missed that part.
Yeah. It's been like this really long time right outside the courtroom. It's just going on far longer than it seems like it should. 20, 30, and then as many as like 40 minutes before he comes back out. The whole time just under watch of these guards. And when he does, that's what he says. So what do we do here? I don't believe we can trust you to come back. And yet, it would be wrong to enact justice improperly. I have a proposal. This is perhaps outside of the ordinary. But if I'm being truthful, and I am always looking to be truthful, you've not been directly witness to be involved. Perhaps there's a way that we can make things right without going through all of... He like gestures behind him to the courtroom. Without going through all of this. We have a problem here in this city. And I think you... And let's see, is there some, like... I feel like there should be a way that even by sight one can tell that somebody is like an Ironsworn. And granted, you're pretty new to it, but like... Maybe it's just even the carrying iron is a rare enough thing that the fact that you have a sword isn't like a sign of it.
Okay.
And like glances to your sword. It says, "Yeah, we have a trouble in this city, and I think if you were to help us get through this trouble." Swearing, of course, as your people do. I think you can find a much better time in our system. If you don't, well, justice will have to be much swifter.
I'm willing to do whatever I can to help.
Good. He like gives a little gesture for the men to the or guards rather. I don't know if they're all men, but for the guards to back off at least a little bit, give a little bit of space, and he like sits down on the bench next to you, like makes you scoot over a little bit. Are you familiar with? Let's see. We need a name for this this other religion because I think of those problems that might be the one that he would think of first. Let's see. So what is a good name for this like religion of the hearth and of
Hearthism.
how about like the yeah, I mean it could just be like the glowing hearth or something like that. Just go with that. Are you familiar with the glowing hearth? And
I'm.
you are? Okay.
I am not. No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not.
Like I think there's at least a chance because indeed, like it's not like this completely regional thing. It is a sacrilege that some are beginning to cling to around here, all due to the efforts of, let's see, we never got a name for the vagrant. Let's see, their name is Glyn. So apparently Glyn and Geethan, they have problems with the G names around here. And Grae, yeah, they have trouble with all the G names. Ain't nothing but a G thing. All led by the efforts of Glyn, Glyn, our unfortunate street rat. But you seem like someone who is not unwilling to roll around in the dirt. If you can find this Glyn and shut them up, I think that everybody around here would consider it a great service.
I accept your request.
All right. He's like makes a look towards the iron on your, or I guess they probably would have taken your sword. So like someone like a guard hands it back towards you, but like blade first. After Sarah makes a gesture, and then points to the blade and goes, "I believe you and I both know that is not quite good enough." I'm waiting.
I'm sorry?
He wants you to swear on iron.
Oh! Oh. He knows about the iron swearage. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I presented this idea to you.
Okay. So, what exactly is he asking me to find this person and bring him
And
to the authorities?
he said to find Glyn and shut them up. He was
Oh,
vague about
so
the
he wants me to
specifics.
kill them.
He was vague about the specifics, but that's the end goal that he needs here.
Okay. Then, jeez. All right, so I'll just take my sword and say, I swear to find. It's Glyn, right?
Yeah, Glyn.
No, Dagan! Don't step on the keys. I swear to find Glyn and shut him up.
All right, let's make that swearing on iron move then. So, oh man, I think they have.
Or maybe I just say, I swear to find Glyn. I feel like that makes just to simplify it.
He'd be waiting for the rest of it then, because that would you may swear that, but then he would not accept it as the full what he was asking for.
Would it be acceptable to say, I swear to bring Glyn to justice?
We can see if you can. Like, we could maybe make another roll to see if you could slip that in and be a little bit more vague about the terms of it, and like imply something that gets past him. So let's see. Maybe that is a. It sounds like making a compel roll with like some shadow to be a little bit tricky about the language of it, without him noticing. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, they've updated the sheet since I last looked at it. Now it allows you to just like roll the moves directly from here, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna do a compel with shadow. Let's see here. Yeah, no modifier. Okay, we have a miss. You rolled as best you could, but those challenge dice were pretty damn high there. Yeah, so it sounds like he sees right through that. On a miss, on a compel, we have that they refuse or make a demand which costs you greatly. And I think in this case it makes the most sense to just basically refuse that as the phrasing on it. Be like, no. That's not what I asked for.
All right, I swear to find Glyn and shut him up.
All right, that will certainly work as the vows. That's pretty much verbatim what he had asked for. So we're going to swear an iron vow. Add this to your list. So you swear to find Glyn and shut him up. And indeed, like, he was not specific about exactly how you had to do that. But let's roll your heart. Strong hit. There we are. That's a good start. Much better than before. So let me add that into your vows list. Oh, we should have set a. We need to set a ranking for it. I think this is probably just like it's just some vagrant that you need to shut up. I don't think this is more than like troublesome, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't imply that there's a great danger behind this. And they're even cowardly and everything. So like this doesn't seem like it's going to be a huge problem for you. Just something that needs taken care of. I think it's more just it would be a pain for them to find him and they've got other shit to do. And so that's why it's just not already done. And maybe this is kind of like a new thing that just came out. Like they've just been hearing all these murmurs and news is coming of like a yeah, maybe there's some more details he could give you or something after the fact. Let's see. Where is okay. Vow 3. So you will find Glyn and shut them up. Which will, yeah, just be a troublesome.
I never thought I'd be forced into a swear.
I know, we get to see it from different angles here. And still never truly forced so much as the outcome of not doing it would probably be its own thing that would be a problem. But compelled into doing it, I suppose, is the way to put it. As for getting a strong hit on swearing an iron vow, you are emboldened and it is clear what you must do. Take +2 momentum. So I think we can probably represent that with how, like, he's got a little bit more information about what they just learned, and so a little bit of a lead for you to follow. Your momentum is now +4, which is pretty decent start for it, especially if we're just doing something troublesome. So let's see. Yeah, what kind of info did they like just have very recently that might give a little bit of a lead on where to find Glyn?
Dark alleys. I don't know. He said street rat, so I'm assuming.
Yeah, but I mean, one would imagine something more like there's a lot of those. It'd have to be something with a little bit more of a lead than go look on the street, basically. Let's see. Oh wow, this has even got some new delve moves in here. Sweet. Stuff I don't recognize. It's like, ooh, wield a rarity.
Yeah, I think I would directly ask Sarah where should I start looking?
Yeah, I mean, he'd certainly be telling you something. I'm just trying to get an idea on what that might be. Why don't we get another like action and theme to see if that can help inspire something. Oppose and destiny. Maybe a little bit too broad to think of something, but I don't know that we necessarily have to use both, but see if one of those might inspire something about like what just happened that's a nice lead, like something warm that you can follow, a trail that you can follow. I certainly imagine like oppose destiny makes sense in the sense of like just how opposite these religions are, but yeah, like some event that just happened, or like a maybe there's somebody else that was also recently captured or something. that you could talk to? Like maybe it's that sort of thing. Somebody who is or yeah, maybe they don't have him captured, but they've just learned, like somebody reports have just come back about um these like poppings up around the city of uh yeah, people like it what's the word I'm looking for? Like uh crying out religious stuff in the street. There's a word for it. I can't think of it at the moment. Um,
Protest or
it's not a protest exactly, but just like leading in like religious thought. There's a word and I can't think of it, but yeah, they're like popping up in various places, and they probably have one in particular. Like I think it started out in sections of the city that were farther away and more like poor sections, and farther from the like more governmental and religious areas. So it was far enough that
Mhm.
they didn't really have an awareness of it, but now it's starting to spread a little bit more.
like
Proselytizer.
religious demonstration or
Proselytizer is what I'm thinking for.
oh, okay, gotcha.
Um, but yeah, just people proselytizing in the streets and like drawing some crowds. And now it's starting to get a little bit closer to where they call home. And so there's like,
Really?
yeah, it's one that they heard of, maybe capitalizing on the fire that just happened, of like that somebody yeah, well, let's go with that. So it's like their word has just gotten back to me that one of these leaders of theirs is spouting out a bunch of nonsense about how the fire is a sign that everything that we do here is wrong, and that our ceremony had to be disrupted as the will of the gods. But this, but this man, th- this agent, we don't is not the cause of it all. We want to get to, we want to get to Glyn. But he talks about like a specific spot that's not all that far away, like some particular intersection where this was just spotted to be happening. Like this is what he like just found out. Um, I believe this to still be going on. Perhaps they would know more about where Glyn is.
Then I shall start my search there.
Good. We need to make an example of him. Carry on. Like stands up and gives you your leave.
All right. Am I bringing Chandra with me or
Chandra, you've got
Chandra?
Chandra got all beat up and captured long before you did. You are not together at this moment.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah, she is. Who knows at this moment right now? Especially if we establish they may not have something really on the order of like prisons here.
Right.
If they don't do that, then it's anyone's guess what happened, where she is, and what's going on.
Okay.
So yeah, you're heading to the spot then.
Yep.
Okay. So I think when you get there, yeah, as described, it's probably drawing. Let's see, how big of a crowd do we have? People are paying attention to this because it is closer in to like the important parts of the city where this would be a little bit all the more abnormal to have any kind of like demonstration that goes against the established norms. I'm gonna ask the Oracle, like, are there more than are there more than 10 people here? I'm putting that one as I'll put that one as likely, and then like with every step I'll get more and more like unlikely to get an idea of like how many people are here. So are there more than 10 people here? Yes, okay. So now I'm gonna move from likely to 50-50. Are there more than 20 people here? No. Okay, so like 10 to 20 people. A large handful of people are watching this are listening in. Like, there's probably more than that number of people around, but there are that many people that have actively like stopped what they're doing to only like listen to this person speaking. Like, that is their main purpose for being here, not just like they're in the area doing other things, like going from point A to point B. But there's that many people that seem to be in audience to this. And yeah, let's find out a little bit about this person. I just want to get a quick like idea of what they might look like, and get a little character descriptor. Let's see. We have conceited. I mean, that's not what they look like, but interesting, just kind of characterization. So they're very conceited, and loyal. Okay, might be a little challenging to get them to give up Glyn then, and but also cooperative. Okay, so interesting. So like,
Interesting.
I mean, definitely cooperative with the person that they're loyal to, at the very least. That may not be like they're just cooperative with just anybody, but but not like gonna make trouble. It sounds like it's just, they want to help you, but if it seems like they're gonna be messing over the person they're loyal to, then that's probably gonna be more challenging. So yeah, let's do another quick oracle, just find out like man, woman, somewhere in between. What do we got preaching the word of the hearth around here? So I'm gonna just do a D3, man, woman, somewhere in between. A woman. A woman.
Not a woman.
Not a woman. Yeah. Yeah, so I think she probably had like, if they're all about like celebrating life almost to like a hedonistic degree, I think we have just like probably like, I'm getting hippie kind of vibes here, like very long like 1960s San Francisco kind of hair and getup. Probably unshaven, like it's all life and beautiful, and it's like, man, you just gotta appreciate the hearth, man. It's yeah,
The hearth of life.
yeah, it's probably
Keep
all
it glowing.
yeah. Appreciate Gaia. But yeah, that's how I picture is in like probably some like I imagine her in like a long white kind of pretty flowy dress that goes like wider out towards her, like I imagine her in the like, the dress that Jenny is wearing in Forrest Gump when she like meets him in the reflecting pool at when she's like Forrest and like running through there when he's giving his speech about Vietnam. I'm kind of imagining wearing something like that, like just kind of long and white and goes like all the way down to her feet. But it's relatively loose towards the bottom. And then yeah, long white hair, maybe even with indeed some like some flowers in it and stuff. Maybe in there like that might be one of their kind of weird blasphemies, because I know we talked about like, yeah, like the flower that you're wearing that wilts as your visitor pass, like it might be kind of like some of those are like braided into her hair, but like fresh ones, they're not dead. She replaces them.
Wonder. That reminds me, I kind of wonder how far along my flower is.
I mean, you haven't been there that long. It sounds like it's been like between a day or two, and you had what, like a week pass, I think. So, and obviously it wasn't completely defined. It depends on the flower, but I suppose if you want to know, we can find out how your flower's doing. We can ask an oracle about that. Like I really don't think it's fully wilted yet. That would be somebody gave you a bum flower if that's the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can figure it out. That's just kind of some bad. Let's see. Ask the Oracle. Like, will I'm rating this as almost certain, but will your flower still be around and viable by tomorrow? I have this as almost certain. Yes.
Okay.
So we know at least that much. It's looking fine for the moment. I don't know that we need to find out exactly how long, because good to not really know in advance. Oh no, I seem to be hitting a little bit of a red patch. Let's see if I can. All right, back in the green. Cool. Yeah. So she's talking all about about how the fire is the first sign, and that it is. Oh, I think they might even be like, she might be half like taking credit for it in a way, because like they worship the hearth, well, of course, like the fire, so it makes it seem so symbolic for them, like and so as the fire ravaged through the cities and seems a sign of destruction, I am here to tell you that it is leading the way in your hearts towards a warmth and generosity that can be found within the halls of, or within the companionship of the great hearth, and various stuff like that, just going on about the great beauty of the world and what they have to offer, and how this is what's going on here is clearly not the way, and blah 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 blah. I wonder how this crowd is taking it. Because again, this is a spot in the city where it's a little bit of a reach to do this sort of thing here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put I think it's, I'll just put it as 50-50 as a good default. Like, is the crowd receptive to this, or like they might just be curious, but are they receptive to these ideas? No. Okay, so it's the people that are hanging around are more just like gawking at a traffic accident type of thing than truly just like agreeable with it. Like, she is doing this to a dead room right now, and not just because they worship death. Just a lot of people around here that this is not her crowd. Nobody is giving any amount of like yeah or like applause or any kind of signs that this is sinking into anybody. It's all just like, if anything, the best she's getting is people murmuring and not knowing what to do, and like suffering from bystander effect of like, somebody should do something about this, and but nobody wanting to do anything. So yeah, that's what you witness when you arrive here.
Okay.
She's up on probably a little bit of like a soapbox type of thing, like just a little personal slight elevation, that the size that she would have like brought with her.
Okay. So I wait for her to just finish her speech and wait for the crowd to kind of dissipate before I approach her.
Okay. Are you like in the crowd during that time, or like you wait farther away before it's just... Okay. So you're like you're amongst the people that are listening to her for a little while, and I think it probably goes on for, I don't know, let's find out. I'm gonna roll a d6, and that'll be that many 10
all
minute
day.
increments.
I was just there.
Yeah.
Waiting to talk to her. I start raising my hand.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll call on me.
Let's see. All right, this goes on for like the better part of an hour, but
Okay.
but eventually, like, she's just not getting the response, and it's starting to tire out her voice a little bit more. She might have other places to try out that are more receptive or something. But she goes on for quite a while, and it's not going anywhere. People are probably starting to disperse. Maybe that's it. It's less that she gives up, and more that people just stop caring or being curious, and they start dispersing enough that there's just not really anybody to talk to except you. It becomes a little bit weird to proselytize like one-on-one. So it just kind of like the steam sort of goes away, and yeah, I think she might even say, because she's conceited, right? It's like, well, I'm glad somebody was willing to hear the important things I had to say. Thank you for sticking around.
Sure. It's a compelling speech.
You're a believer then?
I think I am.
Are you? Or are you just trying to get on our good side?
I mean, I agree with a lot of the teachings. Maybe
But
not everything.
But you know that she definitely means in the sense of like,
I'm
well,
pro-life.
yeah, you're pro-life. Well, I guess she wasn't direct enough to ask. Like, I guess that would lead her to then ask. She probably just interprets that as how you actually mean it. Like you're generally pro these ideas, and so she asks if you'd be interested in learning more about, like, would you be interested in learning more about the faith and perhaps joining our ranks? We can use all the help we can get. This has not exactly been a very nurturing environment for the hearth. A very cold wind here. She gestures around.
I was actually wondering if I could speak to the founder of all of this. Do you know of Glyn?
She definitely, like, obviously she knows of him. Yeah, yes, of course. Glyn is the. We like to think of Glyn as the spark that began this warming glow. The first to teach us all about what could be provided by a nurturing spirit and people looking after each other.
And might you know where
Which
this
I was just
Glyn...
thinking that puts a little bit of a spin on like Glenn's motives for all this. Like Glenn's a vagrant. Depends on the hospitality of others to get by. Like Glenn probably started preaching all about this for their own like personal benefit of like, you know what? God wants you to help other people. God wants you to give me that can of beans or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking Glenn might.
He started this religion.
Yeah, I'm
for
getting this
something.
idea. I don't think Glenn is necessarily a believer so much as an opportunist.
Yeah.
But that these other people are probably believers. Anyway, sorry, what was the thing that you said to her?
Oh, I said, might you know where I could find this Glyn?
Let's see. Let's see if you can compel her to give up the details on that. Which is somewhat rolling in the very idea of like whether or not she knows them. Or whether or not it's just complicated what she answers to you. Like that's all just kind of rolled up in this one roll. So can you compel her? And you're being all nice and everything. It's definitely a heart kind of move. You're not just like, all right, you son of a bitch, you're gonna give up. You're gonna tell me where Glyn is right now with like her back against the bricks. Okay, so let's see. Let's compel with heart and find out. All right, a weak hit. Not bad. This compel on a weak hit means you'll get one momentum, which is good, and but they ask something of you in return. Also, if you're using this to gather information, which you are, you're trying to get the information of where Glyn is, you'll get to make that move now and add a +1. So, first things first, let's give you the momentum. Let's get everything, get all of our ducks in a row. So your momentum is up to +5. Also, she sees that you're wounded, maimed, and like your health at like, I think given that she's a believer in this religion, it occurs to me she'd probably be like, that would flavor this a little bit and she'd want to help you. But right now she's asking of something in return. But you definitely have more of a reaction like, good heavens, like you, or it probably wouldn't be heavens, but like some other exclamation they would have that's a little bit more on theme. Like,
Maybe she wants me to spread the word of the hearth.
and almost
Maybe she wants me to...
It's almost certainly something in that direction, like something specific that would help their cause. it wouldn't like it was way too early technologically for it to be like, hey, hand out these flyers, but because I don't think people even generally read. Um, yeah,
Maybe they're buttons or
what could
pins.
be
Nah, they wouldn't
something?
be rich enough to have that.
What could be something that you could do in return, like specifically to help their cause? I mean, it could be on the matter of like it. Maybe they just have like a Okay, yeah, maybe the way that you would meet him, they have a feast that would be happening tonight, but it's like a potluck type of thing where they need you to help supply like everybody pitches in. It's a real communal type of thing. And if you want to meet Glenn, like the best opportunity would be at this event, but in order to be a part of it, everybody has to throw in their way. Like those who can have to bring something, and you seem like looking at you being equipped with like if you've got weapon money, like it seems like you've got the ability, like you're doing well enough that you should be able to scrounge up some food for the group of people. So yeah, it would be that like she'll tell you, but she's letting you know in advance. This is you're not gonna be able to get in without doing this. Um,
Okay.
but then also like yeah, I think she'd be like, good Grace, you. What happened to you, by the way? If you, I hope I don't mean to offend, but you seem like the world is making you weary.
I am a little bit weary. I've been doing a lot of traveling and been facing a lot of perils. It's
I
a long story.
I think she would definitely spin this into how like that's what the hearth is all about. It's like, well, I hope you realize that that all who share the hearth are a family. We look after each other. If you come to our feast tonight, I'm sure we'll do what we can to take care of you and get you back on your feet. No one deserves to have this city do this to them. And I forget exactly what the when you got maimed, what that was. Like what
Oh yeah,
I'm
I
trying to
got that
remember.
was from the last
I know,
town
but
that
I'm
we
trying to
were in.
remember what the flavor was. No, that I mean that happens during when you got trampled. I'm just trying to remember.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm trying to remember what exactly the flavor was on that, like how you're maimed. Well,
A broken rib.
that's right. Yeah, it was like a badly broken rib that'll just never heal quite right. Um, that's right. But otherwise, you still have like the burned hand and everything, and they might be able to treat you a little bit. Um, so yeah, let's make the gather information roll with the +1 to find out like to give you this full intel on like where to go and what to bring and everything. Um,
Okay.
and this is why this is just troublesome. Like it won't be a big deal, especially if you go in the nice way. Let's gather information. You have a +1, and okay, another weak hit, and nothing you can improve with momentum, but that's fine. So on a gather information, if the information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger, envision what you discover and take +1 momentum. So let's get the momentum up to 6, and then figure out what's a little bit more of a complication on this. It could be that it might occur to her after the fact that she's like, oh, but wait, we're full up or something. But oh, no, that doesn't really work with the idea of like everybody can share the hearth together. I don't. They may not do the like, sorry, all of our spots are taken, especially if you bring your own shit. Um, but maybe it may be a members only thing, and perhaps you need the equivalent of like being baptized into this religion type of thing first to like this
Maybe
is
there's like a password or a saying that I'm supposed to say like
well, but
to
it's
get in that forgot to tell me.
oh, that's true. I guess yeah,
Like
yeah,
peace be
that's
with you,
true.
but
It
may the
might not.
hearth be with you.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe she was excited. She forgot all the details to tell you, and it's not a complication that you know of to begin with. It's just, yeah, there's a piece missing, and when you get there, you'll find out. I like that. Yeah. Because yeah, they're like this underground kind of organization. I mean, not underground because they're publicly proselytizing, but they're the underdogs, and they know they're not going to be taken very well. So they gotta, at their big events where Glenn is going to be, they got to be careful. So yeah, there's like there's a password that she forgot to tell you about.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
mantra or something.
I like that. Some saying that they have. But yeah, she gives you the information on it. It's like this. Yeah, it's a dinner that happens at night, like after the sun goes down. There's a spot, probably more in the Undercity, which not like under in the sense of like lower down than anything, but just like definitely in more of the slums. That would be like cordoned off to kind of an area that would not be like right when you come into the city because they don't want that to be people's first impression, but like definitely far away from this religious area. And yeah, it's kind of, let's see, there I feel like there'd be some feature that like segregates this from the rest of the city in a kind of sense of like the wrong side of the tracks. Like there's some feature in this city that makes it clear when you've crossed into the slums. And not just because they look run down, but like, let's see if I can get a. Let's see, on the oracles, there's a location descriptor. I want to see if this helps inspire something that like keeps this separated. Big, not helpful. Let me try another one. Either location descriptor or location, maybe. Let's see. How about location? Not good. There wouldn't be a mine in the middle of the city. Try again. Okay, a cliff. So yeah, maybe there's just like a that makes not like the cliff, but there could be a series of them, and just like there's a low. Yeah, I guess it is the Undercity because there's like a lower section where there's kind of like a sharp drop off, and I don't think it's that tall of a cliff. I think it's like maybe 30 feet or
It could
something.
near the cliff, like the actual
That's true. It could
Black
be.
Falls,
Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. It could be very near the cliff. Like
like
they.
on the outskirts.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Their part of the city is right near where all the dead bodies get thrown. So they have to deal with the smell of
Yeah.
like everybody else is just like, yeah, and then we throw the bodies and it's beautiful and then we're all done. And then the people who live in the slums are like, yeah, it reeks. All the time. Oh, which means you're probably not all that far away from Geethan.
Oh yeah.
If you go all the way up to the edge, you
Still
can maybe
sneaking
see
out, making his art.
you can see the work that's in progress. Yeah, you know what? Geethan is probably in this place too. Like they were like excommunicated, but the Hearth would definitely take Geethan in. Let's
Maybe he's stacking them like Lincoln logs and trying to make like a smokestack or something.
I don't know what Geethan's up to. It's some kind of representational work. Um, but yeah, I think that given that the slums are like that close to the edge of everything, of the cliff where that's happening, I imagine it would make sense for Geethan to be there tonight. And I want to make it so. So he'll be in it. Or similarly, what gender is Geethan?
He's probably gonna smell really bad.
Geethan is also a lady. Um,
What?
yeah.
No. I was envisioning Given as a guy this whole time.
Well, I finally determined whether or not that was true. I guess maybe you're one of many that many think Geethan is a man, but that's just the patriarchy that assumes that the great artists all have to be men. Nobody talks about the groundbreaking works of Geethan, the corpse slayer. um, yeah, she's probably a little strange. Anyhow, um, yeah, you get into this district that is probably really smelly. Um, just smells of rot, and you can see like the like circling buzzards or like some carrion birds that are always nearby. Like they're probably not even circling. They just know that it's always so common here that like they just like nest in these houses and stuff. Uh, like just some people might even keep them as pets. Just
Oh
because
god.
they're so like they're so domesticated into like, oh, you guys are just gonna feed us dead food like people all the time. Like, yeah, we have like domesticated buzzards here, um, that are just like perched on all rooftops and just kind of like waddle through the streets sometimes, and uh, yeah, it's you see that as you come in, and like one of them as you come in probably does a big just like flourish of its wings, and
Caw.
as you walk past. Um, it's not a nice part of town. It's definitely pretty like muddy here, I think, and cold and high up. It's not a wonderful place to be. I think a lot of the buildings around here are like you can see the roofs are like they'd be very leaky if it were to rain because there's all sorts of just like crappily done patches over holes in roofs and just not very well sealed. Like it's shacks and stuff that people live in, or like people that are sleeping just underneath like like inside pig pens and stuff. Um,
Hmm.
Doing what they can to get by, slumped over drunk against the side of a ramshackle building. But there is one building that's more. Uh, it seems that there there are people that are like looking happy, which is weird for this area. Um, Heading into it in up ahead, and it's like a larger structure closer to the size of what you would expect like an inn to be. But it's not an inn, it's just somebody's like bigger house. And big for like this area, not big for like a wealthy person, but this might have the one room house that it is might be like a larger room as opposed to just like there's room for you to sleep in. Um yeah. So you see that up ahead, and it seems clear as you approach, like based on the direction you had, that's the place. Um, and so there's like a duo of people are that are wearing similar style clothing to what the I guess we didn't get a name for her before, but the proselytizer from before, or did we get a name? I forget. No, we didn't. Um, yeah, wearing a similar style of kind of flowy clothing to her heading in. There's like a duo of them up ahead, and but then the door closes, and you can see just like glowing light coming out from the windows, which are and general merriment that you can hear inside. Or I guess are you going directly there, or like you were told you had to bring food of some sort.
Yeah, I think I think I definitely stop by.
Oh, a couple of things. First, you should
Like
definitely have progress for like you know where to go. Let me give you that progress. That was definitely a milestone when you found out where Glim would be. Um, so yeah, you're going directly there.
No, I wanted to stop by like I don't know, like a bakery or something.
Okay, we can kind of rewind and do that first. Um, so you can certainly stop by a bakery. I'm curious, what is your approach going to be here? Because you don't really like. It's mostly a matter of like trade for goods around here. Um, and I just don't know what you have. What are you planning on offering? Especially with a supply all the
Yeah.
way at zero. Like you're currently unprepared with no supply.
Oh, good point.
So what is your idea here to get a baker to give you something?
um, hmm. I didn't think of that. So yeah, I don't. If I don't have anything to offer, then I guess I can't. I don't
Gotcha. Well, you have any other thoughts on how you might scrounge something up to bring in?
I could I don't know, roast a couple of pigeons.
Okay, you
I
try and,
really don't.
yeah, you can certainly try and catch something and then just bring it yourself. That's look, their whole operation is set up in this like area full of bums and vagrants. So like I don't think they're any stranger to like all I could bring you was these pigeons I caught. But you're just gonna catch and kill more pigeons here.
Uh, it's becoming my
I
thing.
guess so. Yeah, you already drank the blood of one. Um, so yeah, let's see if we can just scrounge you up a pigeon real quick with just like an edge face danger. See what you can get as you hunt in the city for just a couple of like squabs or something. Let's see. Okay. Got a weak hit. Nothing that you could improve. And I believe that's the one on face danger. Like you'll get what you want, but one of your stats is going to go down. I think losing one momentum would probably make the most sense. Where it's just like you're almost at your max right now anyway, considering your max is kind of low. I think it just the time it would take you to just have to go out of your way to catch this goddamn pigeon and roast it. Like it's a delay that you don't really need right now, and so it would make sense to just lose some momentum.
Okay.
So goes back down, but you've got a couple of just roasted birds, like enough that you think it should qualify for what you need. You have brought something, can divvy it up there. And yeah, when you do arrive to that scene that we described before and see what this place really is, it probably makes you all the more heartened. That's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this will do. I don't think they're asking for much. This feast, as they describe, is probably not exactly fitting for royalty. So yeah, you got there. You have something to offer. But yeah, when you presumably go up to the door to speak to the person who's guarding that, and the bouncer, I guess. The first words out of their mouth are, I think it would probably be a call and response kind of thing, where like they say a phrase and then it's if you don't say the same thing back, they're just like, "Have a good night," like, or not like the same thing back, but the proper response. So let's see. Something that seems relatively innocuous, but has a significance in their belief. Like,
The hearth is eternal, and then I say something.
well, that
I
would
don't know.
probably be something more along the lines of what you were supposed to say in return that kind of marks you a little bit more as a member. They'd probably say something more vague, like, uh, like warm nights to you, friend. And then it becomes I think you can read the situation well. Like there's something about the way he says it that it seems like this isn't just some regular wish. Like he's clearly there's a right thing to say here, and you do not know it. Um. So what do you do?
Um, I don't know. I just say greetings. I don't really know what to say. So
Yeah. So it comes clear, and there's a little bit of a like
I just say greetings. I brought a pigeon.
his face changes a little bit, and in reaction to what you said, and he like looks down at the pigeons, but it's clear that yeah, it wasn't what he wanted to hear, and so I think there may even be like the full on like there's a eye slot that's pulled aside, and he's just like then I hope you enjoy them in good company, and like closes the slot, and that's he doesn't say anything more. Like unless you like stop, him, like oh wait, hold on, and like try and convince him otherwise. Like that alone, he's just like, you failed the test, so we're done here. I have a
well,
job here, but you could convince him otherwise. You are a player
yeah, I
character, and
think I
you are
just I think I wander off around a corner and try to wait for someone else to come by. And
I would like wind up as somebody's like +1.
yeah.
Okay. Um, are you going to like when assuming somebody else comes in, which I think is likely enough, that we can certainly roll that as an oracle. Um, assuming somebody comes in, is your plan to like sneak in without them realizing that you joined in behind them, or like talk to them and get them to like bring you in, or are you just trying to overhear what they say? Like, what's assuming you find somebody, what's the route here to get an idea on how to handle this?
Um, no, I mean, I'm waiting for someone to approach the door
I
to
know,
like, oh,
but is that's why I'm asking. Like, are you trying to do this without being like without them realize like unnoticed, or and just so you can overhear
yeah,
the
I doubt
phrase?
anyone. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah. I don't, yeah.
gotcha. That's just what I wanted to know. Like whether that was the angle or if it was more like blending into their group or talking to a group before they even get to the door to be like, hey, let's go in together or whatever. But okay, if you're just trying to like be nearby enough to hear the phrase without being noticed, I mean that seems like an easy call. That's just a shadow face danger. Just be sneaky, overhear these things without you being aware. Now, I think that there's a chance that you could. Actually, it's probably. I guess there's an argument for wits because like it's you have to be aware enough to overhear this. Um, but that if you're unsuccessful, it's probably that you were overseeing, like somebody saw you and then made extra precaution to like be all the quieter with it because they didn't trust what was going on. Um, but let's see. Yeah, I think there's an argument for just having the wits, and maybe you could maybe like secure an advantage with Shadow, but I forget what happens if you get a miss on that. You fail or your assumptions betray you. It's not the worst thing, but not the best. Uh, yeah, let's just face danger with wits and see. Assuming that you get some spot like around the corner or something, where like they would not be able to see you, and then it's just about whether or not from that spot you can overhear them. All right. Hey, critical hit opportunity. So you definitely overhear it, and then we got to give you a little something on top of that too. Maybe there's probably something else they say at the door, like once the pleasantries are exchanged and or the code is exchanged in like they probably recognize each other or something and say something else that would be useful. Maybe a little bit of leverage on that you could use against Glyn. Um, it seems like it could be something in an opportunity, or like, or maybe completely unrelated. It may just be something else about the city that like you just weren't aware of and like could be useful in another situation. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't personally have any ideas yet, but we can roll an oracle here. Um, oh, you know what? It should just be that like it's a minor critical hit. How about it's just that something about the way they're talking is and like you get a glance at them, it's clear like there's something of a healer. Like this is being attended by somebody who knows what they're doing and might be able to treat your injuries better. That it sounds like a decent opportunity to have here. Just they they're clearly a healer of some sort. But you hear the password. I think it's so what he said before, like warm nights to you, and then yeah, I think the passphrase is something like the light of the hearth the light of the hearth warms all who are willing to sit. something like that. And then they're let inside. Clearly have the phrase now. Now, here's the thing. This guy at the door obviously knows that, like, he already talked to you once. He knows what you look like. I guess there's two opportunities that you could have, one or the other. One could be what we talked about, like there's somebody who'd be good at healing here to help you. Or I guess the other opportunity could be like like the person who goes in then like trades spots. So like that's not the person at the door anymore. So
Yeah, that's what I think it would be.
yeah. So like whoever just arrived is now also gonna like their friends like, here, why don't you take a like get you've clearly been standing there for long enough, like get some food, and like you overhear that obviously whoever was manning the door just got shifted out with somebody else. So you have an opportunity to go up there and not be recognized as like, yeah, you were the person who just tried to get in here and didn't know the phrase. I'm not that stupid. So yeah, there's the opportunity. So, yeah, with that then, like, assuming you just go in and give the phrase, like, I don't think anything would really stop you from it at that point. As far as that person at the door knows, you're good to go. And you've got the food and everything, so, like, hey, like, show what you got, and the door opens up, and they welcome you in as sister of their family. And the, door is closed and like barred behind you. Like they have a just like a wooden plank that's keeping the door just so that ideally nobody just busts in, or at least that it would be harder for them to do so. And yeah, the inside of this place, it's not big, it's very cramped. And I think there's just like there's somebody who's got like a pot, like iron kettle on a stand in like the back corner, like making some kind of stew all together. It's filling this place with just like a little bit of smoke that's, you know, escaping through the windows they're probably like mostly shuttered over, but there's, you know, like cracks. It's not, the boards are not perfectly set up to like seal this place in. But they've got this stew going, and there's like a big wooden table that's taking up the majority of the room, and like certainly with the chairs that people have, I think some people are like standing by it. Some people are like they have like a box or something that they're sitting on nearby. There's no just like, there's maybe in all of this place like one chair, and the rest are just like improvised things that people are using to be near the table. I don't think there's really any silverware or anything. I think people are indeed, it's all just eating with kind of dirty hands, just like grabbing at things, and it's like eating with the Lost Boys. Like it's if yeah, and I don't even know if they have much in the way of like plates exactly. Like what would they use instead of plates? Maybe just like it might just be on the like the equivalent of having just like a scrap of parchment or something. You just like kind of put some food on, like you just have like a placemat sort of thing, and just like, oh, they'd have to have some kind of bowl if they're having stew. So maybe people just have like, there's like a little mat in front of them where they can put like bread and maybe pour out a little bit of the stew and like sop it up, and then they have like some like pewter cups or something that generally are just being, you'll have like stew ladled into it, and people just grab and eat whatever is brought here, and yeah, it's bountiful in a like hobo sense. Like people have brought all sorts of things. Yours does not stand out as like, ew, all you could get was pigeons. Like it's probably pretty average for what people are bringing here. They bring what they can. Some people baked like I think somebody's got a big old loaf of like fresh baked bread that's being used mostly to mop up stew, and there's maybe some other like, it's probably other cuts of just questionable meat, like some skewered rat or something, and maybe a little bit of produce as well. Somebody might have brought in like a bushel of some kind of fruit or something. I guess it's cold. Like apples would probably work here, or some like kind of starting to mold potatoes. There's maybe a few of those. And I think a lot of it is just being like, it becomes clear as you come in, like people welcome you and you're not recognized. So like, I think people immediately come up and like are like introducing themselves and they like welcome you with a hug. They're like, well, welcome, sister. What did you bring?
It's not much, but I hope you'll accept some roasted pigeon.
Nonsense. It's people bring what they bring. You might consider talking to let's give a name to the person attending to the stew back there, because they're gonna encourage you like maybe we should add that into the stew. Like various things have just been kind of mixed in there, get all that flavor going. Yeah, let's get a name. I accidentally pulled up the list as opposed to rolling one, but I like Milla is the one that my eye immediately went to. Or Mia, I guess. Yeah, why don't they like point you in the direction of the soup cauldron or the stew cauldron, and they're just like, you should talk to Mia. I'm sure she'd be Mia. Look what she's brought, and Mia, who is I think is this like an old woman, like very grandmotherly, but like it's been a she's probably older or younger than she looks like just because she's had a hard life. But like look at relatively thin looking, but there's just kind of like a warmth in her face, as she is tending over just stirring around with this big wooden spoon, big ass ladle or something that it gets Mia's attention, and says, Mia, look, we have a new addition for the stew. And Mia sees your pigeons and is just, and there's not even a moment of just like, ew, pigeon. It's just like, wonderful, add it in, throw it in, child. So I think there's like a little bit of carousing and stuff at the time. It becomes clear relatively quickly that things are basically ready, but they're waiting for Glenn's arrival as like before they officially get started. Like everybody's just like sitting there. You can hear stomachs rumbling as the scent of all sorts of cooked street food is filling this place. But they gotta wait till Glenn gets here, and eventually there's the person at the door slides open the eye hole thing, and I know there's got to be a name for that, but
People.
the peephole, I guess. I always think of peephole as like specifically like for the door, like the just little hole, but I guess it's probably what it's called as well, even if it is the like longer rectangle. But yeah, somebody slides open the peephole and like doesn't even wait for the password, just like, oh, and turns to everybody, he's here, everyone, and there's like a cheer of like, yes, hurrah! And like people start
Rabble,
I think
rabble.
there's a song that people start singing that's and whoever it was that was proselytizing before is totally here. She probably encourages you to take a seat next to her because she recognizes you from before and is so happy you showed up. Yeah, people start singing a song that I imagine their religious hymns are far more like it's like tavern music type of thing. It's just like everybody joins in a round of stuff. It's designed to be the type of thing where you don't know it when it starts, but very quickly, the chorus is pretty easy to figure out, and maybe even one of those things where like people are always adding in their own new verses. Like it's like kind of rhyming couplet sort of things, and so somebody will come up with a new one, and then everybody has a good laugh at it, and it's a good time when Glenn gets here. Um, and the feast begins. I get like, is there any particular moment that you'll be acting upon, like to confront him, or are you just gonna be joining in for the night? Like, what? How much are you gonna interject and affect the way things go here?
I'm not sure because I think at this point I'm starting to change my mind about even turning him in because
Gotcha. Yeah,
it
it's
seems like
pretty happy
everything they're
place
doing
here.
is wholesome and uh, I don't know.
Seems like. Um, yeah, they're all enjoying it and seem to be a very welcoming bunch as long as you don't just be like, you guys are being blasphemers towards the great god death. Like they're pretty happy that you're here and well and teaching you of the ways as best they can. Um, I imagine at some point, the proselytizer, whatever her name is, we should get her an actual name. Um, is oh, gotcha. Yeah, I didn't have that window up. Sorry to hear that. Do you want to kind of wrap things up in a real quick
Yeah,
sense? Okay,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. We're most of the way through anyway. Um, why don't we just have like the last thing that happens here being like this lady who talked to you earlier. Um, let's give her a name real quick, and then I think let's see, Kimura. Ooh, nice. So Kimura, who at this point you clearly exchanged names, or she's at least given you her name. Whether or not you've given her your real one is up to you. But Kimura uh, stands up at one point and says, or I guess here's the: would you have given her your real name? Because she'd be referring to you right now and saying,
Um, Probably.
okay. She stands up and goes, now I know at some point, like when a song dies off, like I know many of you probably don't. Many of you are probably thinking, who who is this newcomer who joins who eats at our table tonight? And I'm here to say that Grae has told me that she's planning on joining the hearth, and everybody's like, hooray! Yeah. Um, and yeah, let's see. Can I define that anymore to make it a yeah, I don't know. Like if you need to wrap things up, like we'll just go out on the kind of like it's all it's really happy here and very familial, and we just see the look on your face that tells it all. Of like, huh, I don't want to ruin this. Like they all seem so great here. Just making do with what they have. So yeah, we'll just go out on the considering look of like you don't really know what you're gonna do about all this, and wrap things up there for this week. Um, so sorry, a little bit shorter than usual, but hey, we got to tend to ourselves first. And Blink had, if you're watching this on YouTube, Blink had sent me a message. She's not really feeling all that well, and much rather
Yeah. Sorry,
let's
guys.
not a problem. We will pick this up next time, and much rather just do it when we're all feeling our 100%. So, let's wrap this up real quick. I'm, of course, Midnight Jester 8. This is Blink and Firefly. You can find us on our respective Twitch channels. And, of course, if you want to check out Ironsworn for yourself, it's available for free at ironswornrpg.com. I really encourage you to do so. And otherwise, we'll see you around next Tuesday for episode 15 to find out what she does about this heart situation. Until then, see you, everyone.